My name is Ashima, and for my project, I chose the Geary Act of 1892. The Geary Act was first passed in 1892, but to understand this act, we must first look at the Chinese Exclusion Act. The Chinese Exclusion Act is today seen as a serious misstep in the United States. The Chinese Exclusion Act was first passed by Congress to limit Chinese labor immigration for 10 years and declare Chinese ineligible for naturalization. For the first and only time, the United States had created legislation to explicitly suspend immigration for a specific nationality. At the time, lawmakers argued groundlessly that Chinese immigrants were stealing jobs from white workers, that they weren't integrating in society, and that they were dirty, and even that Chinese women should be considered prostitutes until proven otherwise. Congress passed the Exclusion Act to mainly calm these white workers' demands and concerns about maintaining white racial purity, even though the Chinese only composed about 0.002% of the nation's population. The Chinese Exclusion Act paved the way for the Geary Act of 1892. The Geary Act was a law that extended the Chinese Exclusion Act. Congress would add new requirements for the Exclusion Act through the Geary Act. The Geary Act required that all Chinese laborers residing in the U.S. carry a special permit at all times, barred Chinese from being witnesses in courts, and determined that the Chinese were not entitled to bail in habeas corpus cases. If Chinese residents failed to carry their permit at all times, they were punished by either deportation or a year of hard labor. Again and again, the Geary Act would renew the Exclusion Act for another 10 years. These anti-Chinese laws remained for more than 6 decades, upholding a constant struggle for Asians.